Welcome to the video. I'm going to show you how to install Windows. I don't particularly find this difficult to do, I just find it time consuming. But I think there's plenty of you out there that are quite capable of installing Windows for themselves. Now, Microsoft gives you all the tools you need to set this up. They also have instructions on the website. They also have the download link for Windows 10. So let's go ahead and download Windows 10, shall we? Microsoft tend to give you all the tools that you'll need. So let's head on over there. You go into your favorite search engine and you'll type in download Windows 10. It's the easiest way I've found to get to it. So let's go there. So we've typed in download Windows 10 and we've got our search results up. So at the top of the list, we've got Microsoft, as we should have. So let's have a look. We go and click into Windows 10, get the disk image. Now, there's different ways to do this. You can get the ISO file like I tend to do. Before you begin, make sure I have an internet connection. Yep, got one of those. Sufficient available storage for the download. Yep. Blank USB drive. Yep. Multi-edition ISO. We have here. Validating it. Okay, we've got that. More download options. It doesn't want to appear. What are you doing? What are you doing? We can't read that. Okay, select product language. Well, we're British, so we need English International. And then we confirm this. Verify your download. So you could do a hash check on that if you really wanted to. It's a big long list. Be okay, and then you literally be going for 64-bit download, and then it asks you where you want to put it. Downloading it nicely. So the next thing we need to do is install it. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you've downloaded your Windows ISO onto a friend's computer, and now you will need a tool to be able to get that image onto a disk of some description, a USB flash drive, which you will need an extra piece of software to do it. From Windows, go and download Rufus. Okay, so we've got our Rufus up here. Just go to Google, download Rufus, type that in, press enter, and it comes up with here, https rufus.ie. It should be their official homepage, and it's where you'll find everything you need to use this program. Also the downloads for it. Portable one's not a bad idea. You could actually keep that on the same drive that you put the Windows installation on, so that you've got the entire kit there as and when you need it. Anyway, so Rufus is a lot easier to use. So I go in here and I download it. Rufus Portable is a good one to get. That's as simple as that, really. You download it. So now that's downloaded. Find out how to use it. So it should be simple enough to use. So you basically come into here, you select the device, which would be your USB stick. The boot selection, it would be Windows, target system, where you probably want EFI. Select the image, and then you'd start and it'll create it for you. Right, now it's time to install Windows. So the first thing we need to do is boot up the installer. You'll need to put your flash drive into your USB socket, and then you're going to have to select the boot menu from the very moment you turn on the machine. Now, this is different between machines. Certain machines will use the delete key. Some of them will use F12. Some of them will use F2. I have come across a few that use F11 and F9, but it's best to look up your computer's manufacturer to find out what is the best keys to press. Select your flash drive as the first one, or select your flash drive from the list, and it will continue. So let's have a look. What have I got here? So press escape for boot menu. Press the escape, and as you can see, I've got our DVD. As far as I'm concerned, it'll be option 1. You press any key to boot the disk. So I'm installing from a DVD. But whichever your one is, I mean, mine's the first one on the list because I've set it to that. Now, Windows installation boot up sequence is now initiated. As you can see, we've got United Kingdom. Yes, that's all in the right place. That's precisely where we are. So let's hit that and let's install now. Setup is starting. Setup takes a while to start. Depending on the speed of your machine, this could take anything from a few minutes to a couple of seconds. Don't have a product key. If you do have a product key, you enter it there. And remember, anything from Windows 7 upwards, the product key will work in here. So if you have a Windows 7 license on an old machine, you can use that license here and install Windows. If you don't have a product key, there's also the possibility that your machine may just not have come with a product key. In many cases, and if everything on Windows 8 and upwards didn't come with a product key, it actually ID'd itself to your CPU. So it will know your machine, which will already be in the Windows database. Anyway, I'm going to select Windows 10 Home. Depending on which one you're using, you can use any of these as long as you have the license for it. So hit Next. We accept the license terms. We hit Next. We custom install. And it can't find the drives. Now this is where we need our second disk with the drivers on. You don't always need to do this, but in some cases with certain computers you do. And with this one, I do. So, we're now going to browse for this. It should be Windows 10. It's that one. There we go. There's only one of them. Next, we should now be able to see the thing. Be able to see our drive to install to. And then we'll install to it. There we go. As you can see, we've already got something installed on here. But we're going to get rid of all that. Okay. We have that one too. Okay. We've got a 40 gig drive to install Windows onto. So let's just hit Next. And copy all the Windows files in there. And then when it's done, we'll come back and go through setting the thing up. Probably a good idea to speed this bit up. Right, that's take some time, doesn't it? Accelerated time. So that bit's done. Now the computer needs to reboot. Once this is done, it should be presented.
Hi there. I'm Cortana, and I'm here to help. A little sign in here, a touch of Wi-Fi there, and we'll have your PC ready for all you plan to do. Use your voice or the keyboard along the way, and if you'd like me to stay quiet, just select the little microphone icon towards the bottom of your screen. If you need an assistive screen reader, press the Windows, Control and Enter keys at the same time to turn on narrator. Okay, enough intro. Let's dig in.
Okay. Well, that was Cortana.
Your region is set to United Kingdom. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Your keyboard is set to United Kingdom. Would you like to stick with that?
And Windows is here, so maybe later we'll set up the web browser. First things first, we've got to install our drivers, so we need our device manager. Device manager. There we go. So let's select that. Top of the list, you can just press enter. You can load the thing in. And the next thing we need to do is install everything. Go in here. Update driver. Browse my computer for drivers. We're going to take CD drive, which is Vert.io. Red Hat, we'll hit OK. Next, and it should search the entire disk for the display drivers. So, all these little yellow triangles we have over them here, these need to be installed. Should have our network devices. We've got our Ethernet controller isn't installed, so let's start there. Update driver. Browse my computer. We've got drive E selected. Next. Let's scan. And install the drivers we need. Yes, all done. Hit close. That's another one down. Do you want to allow the PC discoverable by other PCs on this network? I recommend allowing this on your home network. So we're going to allow it because this is my home network. Update the driver on the PCI device. Doesn't tell us anything else about that. Not sure what it is. We'll soon find out. Installing the drivers. Something's happening. Hope it hasn't crashed. No, still going. Balloon driver. Okay, so that one's done. And I know we've got one left in here somewhere. There we go. Update this driver. Browse my computer for drivers. Next. Installing the driver. There we go. Can't see any other issues there. We just right click here and scan for hardware changes. Should show us everything that's okay. So we can close this off as so. We'll close that down. That one's done. Okay, so the next step is to reboot, just so that everything takes effect, and then we can go through doing the updates. Best to do these as soon as you've got the machine up and running, once you've got the drivers installed. And as you can see, after I've done the drivers, we do get a little problem. This does tend to happen, it's a bit buggy, so the main thing you can do here is press the power button on the front of your computer, and this should send the shutdown signal. The machine will shut down. Do not hold the power button down, as this will do an emergency shutdown. It will just kill it, and it will cause problems. Just press it once. Press the power button once, and wait. Pressing the power button now, Windows begins to shut down. Leave it alone, it will shut itself down. Once it's shut down, all the lights go off. Do not, under any circumstances when you're doing this, hold the power button down. It will crash the machine, and then you may not be able to start Windows again, and you've just spent ages installing it for no reason, because of one mistake. Don't do that. Okay, so it's shut down. Let's power it up again by pressing the power button once. It will boot up again. We'll see, press any key to boot from CD, CD-ROM. That's because it's detecting the disk in your machine. You can take the disk out now, by the way. You don't need the disk in there. Must stress though, if you're going to remove your drive, make sure it's in the powered down state first, or you use the menu icon at the side. Now I'm using the CD and DVD, so it doesn't matter as much, but if you're using a USB flash drive to install, if you just unplug the drive without shutting it down properly, you can also cause corruption on that. This is a common thing with all operating systems. If you do an improper shutdown, the machine is likely to not start up again properly. May well lose data, programs, all number of things can go wrong if you do an improper shutdown. Right, so here we are back at the desktop. Let's bring up our start menu. Let's go to settings. It's this little cogwheel here. If you hover your mouse over it, it'll come up with the word settings. So click on that. Wait for the settings window to appear. Here it comes. Now, first thing we need to do is check that so let's check for updates. This can take some time. It will whiz through, it'll check everything, and then it will start downloading the updates. It's the best course of action you can use when you first start up a computer. So let's just recap. You download your Windows ISO. You then create a boot medium, either a DVD or a USB flash drive. You then boot from that. You need to use the BIOS or a boot menu that should be built into your machine. You go through the initial installation options. Then you get to the setup phase. Once it's installed and you're through the initial setup phase, you install your drivers. As soon as you see the desktop, you go to Device Manager and you look for all the icons in Device Manager that have little yellow exclamation marks over the top of them. Right click on them, you say Update Driver, you get it to look for your driver disk and it will automatically scan it and find the correct drivers. Do this for each one in turn, and some of them it's worth doing if they're, say, generic Microsoft drivers. Look for those as well. There's no harm in double checking. So, as you can see, after all that time, we've now got an error. It's installed most of the updates, but one of them has failed. So we can either hit retry or we can just reboot the machine and then try again. Quite often than not, they fail. It's not a great thing to be doing all the time, so let's close that. Let's tell it to shut down.